It finishes 4-3. Sometimes I'm not sure you can really tell the story of a match from the stats, particularly when Tottenham's expected goals is 0.667.
Can you explain that to me?
I know. Sometimes you have to say to the statisticians, it makes no sense today, right? It makes no sense.
Like we had no VAR, we should have had no XG today.
No XG. So Tottenham 0.67, Manchester United 2.38. Dominic Solanke with 2 of the goals. Let's see if he can make any sense of what has happened. He's talking to Patrick.
Guys, well played. Absolutely crazy night, Dejan. 3-0 up, cruising. Fair to say it ended up being a little more nervy than perhaps it needed to.
Yeah, life, sometimes don't go straight, but the important thing is we win, we're through. Sunday we go again against a good team, so I'm very happy for the win.
Dom, relief?
Yeah, no, for sure. Obviously being 3-0 up, we could have dealt with the game better. Killed ourselves a bit at time, made it a bit hard for ourselves, but like you said, the most important thing was the win, through to the next round, so yeah, we're happy with that.
So just tell us, how does the psychology change? That 3-0, I guess, on the pitch, you feel really comfortable, and then all of a sudden, one mistake, obviously doesn't mean to do it, but it just, everything sort of flicks and flips.
Yeah, no, that's football sometimes, but we stick together. Mistakes are part of football. But we dig in. We showed spirit to make sure that we stayed in the game even when it was going through a difficult period. And like I said, we got the job done.
Dejan, we did an interview earlier in the week where you talked about how frustrating the inconsistency can be. It was sort of like both sides of Tottenham all in one match today, wasn't it?
Yeah, 3-0. We played very well, and there we have to keep going. Mistakes happen, but we can't do nothing about it now. We're happy. And like I said, we have an important game Sunday, so just forget about the mistakes and we win.
I tell you what though, Dom, you're starting to really like playing against Manchester United, aren't you? What is that, 5 in 4 now?
Yeah, something like that. Now obviously scoring against a team like United's great, but the most important thing was the win today and get to the semi-final, so we're delighted.
Yeah, and Dejan, you're in the form of your life, and it's another step towards a trophy. What would that mean?
Everything. That's why we work. That's why we want to win. And I think we got to keep going. We got to get better. Stay hungry, Tomorrow recovery. And we're going to win in the end.
We'll play to both of you. Dejan, you are the Carabao Cup Player of the Match. A smiling Dom Solanke is going to hand it over.
My boy.
Thank you so much.
There you go.
Thank you, guys.
Well done, guys.
Thank you.
Well done.
I think Dominic Solanke's the guy who scored 2. Have I not ended up with that?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, looking at it, but I must say about Solanke, I wasn't sure about the move when he came here. Not for him. I was wondering, would it be too big for him? He'd been at Chelsea as a young boy, did really well at youth levels and international level, went to Liverpool, found it tough, which was understandable with the the front three Liverpool had at the time. But he didn't make any sort of impact at all, even from the bench or the odd little game here for Liverpool. Went to Bournemouth, did well, and I looked at that and I thought, I'm not sure. But I think he's got 9 goals already this season. But it's not just about the goals. His hold-up plays, little touches around the corner, his pressing. And I think that was a big night for him tonight. He's coming up against Manchester United. I know he's got a great record against them, but to me, that he looks like a top centre-forward now. And I made up for him because the type of lad you look at him, you think,
nice lad, yeah.
Is he going to have the personality and the character? It wasn't so much the ability. Is he maybe a bit shy? But I think that was a really big night for him.
And he had a slightly slow start, didn't he? The first 2 or 3 games, he wasn't up and running, so he needed that first goal.
Yeah, and that's when I was watching him thinking, and sometimes we say things in this job, and you don't want to be proven right on something like that, because you look and you think, I hope that lad does well, because you worry if it might be a little bit too much for him. Made a bit of a slow start, but he's up and running now.
Speaking of slow starts, Manchester United made a slow start to that second half. Dejan Kulusevski winning player of the match, and he got the second.
Yeah, important start because you just felt. I mean, it almost feels such a long time ago.
Can you remember
it? But it was obviously it felt at the time like an important goal, and then 3-0 obviously felt important. But they started really well. They obviously had to make a change. Johnny Evans come into centre back position. We saw Martinez do something very similar to this, probably worse actually last year, in the same end at the start of last season in a Premier League game. It's really poor defending. Carrie, you wanted to talk about
young Euro there, you've got to go with the overlap. That's one of the things about playing in a back 5. You can't get done in a situation like that. But with a young defender, you've got, they're going to make mistakes. It's going to happen. You have to stick with them. But
this is poor from Martinez. He had a really bad second half. You've got to do, whatever happens, you just can't just wave your left foot. You've got to do something. Last year he did something very similar where he right foot and he's put it into his. Sometimes that can affect you. You know what you've done before, and he seems to have real problems in that end for sure. But a good finish by Kulusevski. You know, Maddison was, and at this stage, Tottenham are in the ascendancy. They've got their tails up. The fullbacks are coming forward, and you go, what a joy they are to watch. Then they go 3-0, and you're thinking, now we can calm. This is going to be calm for the next while. All Spurs fans can sit there enjoying the game, but it never happens. It just doesn't happen when you watch this Tottenham side. And
this highlights, Jamie, doesn't it? What you were saying. He has a bit of everything. Does Solanke?
I love the top. Yeah, this is a lad in confidence now. I can take 2 defenders on. I'm going to put my foot right through it. You know, making the run. We'll know he'll make that run in behind. And we see Martinez was asking for actually offside. We know there's no VAR, but he wasn't offside. Martinez was playing him on. But I just love this now. He bided his time to get a shot away at the right time. And again, that comes back to the confidence he's showing. Sometimes a player with no confidence might snatch it early on his left foot. He's up against Manchester United defenders. It's like, I'm in charge. I'm in control of this situation. I was delighted for him.
Yeah, you're right. He's always had the attributes. He's always, even at Chelsea as a young kid, I remember watching him in the youth team there. They were talking about him as going all the way and having a great career at Chelsea. Obviously, it didn't work out. Went to Liverpool in the end. Didn't quite work out. And that's the feeling, like Jamie says, can he handle the pressure of a big club like coming here? And he has been fantastic. And he's got that pace and power that's so hard to live with.
Just on the United back three, yeah, and you mentioned Euro there. So obviously he's learning his trade and playing in a back three and playing on the right. Lindelof goes off injured. Evans comes on. He's making a lot of changes in his back three. Eventually, that needs to settle, doesn't it? Otherwise, you're going to get errors. Yeah,
and when you mention a young centre-back, it's an unforgiving position like goalkeeper. We know that. So you look at young Euro, doesn't really follow in on the first goal. The overlap on the second goal, that's something he should read and something he should see. I think a little bit of a worry for Manchester United fans would be Martinez, because I was critical of him when he first came, because I didn't think he'd be able to play in a back four, that would be too small. But he had a really good first season. Now, in some ways, you think he's actually perfectly suited to a back three. You know, he can step out with the left foot. He's got 2 bigger players alongside him. And even though he played a great ball through, didn't he, for the winner in the Manchester derby, I don't think he's looked as comfortable since Amorim came in, when I actually thought, this would be almost like the making of him, this will really suit him. So that's a little bit of a worry, because as Jamie just rightly said, he had a really poor night tonight.
Fraser Forster made a really good save about a minute before the ceiling caved in.
There's no doubt Fraser has made really good saves. Since Vicario has been injured, he has made a lot of these saves. And what they've done in other games, and I remember saying before the Chelsea game, I said it's really important today that what Tottenham Hotspur don't do is try to play out from the back. And he is a goalkeeper that is very good with his hand. With his feet, less so. So do not put pressure on him. Do not ask these kind of questions, because you're winning 3-0. Just get that ball up the pitch, clip it up to Solanke, work on the second ball, because that is so bad. But it's just not his strengths. What he's got to do there is, even if he plays it with his right foot, why they're doing it, I have no idea. This is not his strengths. Do not play that ball to him. Archie, I think, has got to do, just don't give it to him in the first place. But then he plays that ball blind. Fernandes obviously presses, because it's not what you call a hot press either, is it, Carra?
No, I mean, this frustrates me. I mean, OK, the lad's made a mistake. Don't give somebody the ball. It's basic stuff that you'd know when you were a kid. So I know it's Archie Gray, but Basuma shouldn't be giving him the ball in the first place. Play forward. It doesn't mean long ball, but play forward with quality. You're giving a lad a ball again. And listen, it's awful by the goalkeeper. I mean, even if he's not great with his feet, he should still be able to deal with that. But when you're playing a game of football and someone's made a mistake, and he's made plenty as well over the 18 months he's been here, so I don't know if he's having a go at the goalkeeper or the fact they've given the ball back. But this goes back to my criticism of Tottenham under the manager after the Chelsea game. They never change how they play, no matter what the game state is. Now, I don't think football should be played the same all up from minute 1 to minute 90. And I'm just repeating myself. You know, when it's gone 3-1 and the stadium know, and you know, what you've been through this season in terms of having leads, you don't give the ball back to a goalkeeper and make him nervous. Now, he makes another poor mistake, but it goes back to, I think, Ange Postecoglou tells them, no matter if it's in the first minute, the 90 minute, whether we're winning, whether we're losing or we're drawing, we play the same way. And that, for me, I can't have that. I think that is not right.
He's absolutely spot on. And I actually think about that one, and I think of Bissouma. Because then you've got to take the steam out of the situation.
Because he was on the ball for the free kick.
Right. There's a thing now, and it's not just in Premier League. I see it in academy football, where for some reason you pass the ball back to make the pitch big. Now, I always think the goal's that way. Why are you even doing that? Why are you putting yourself under pressure? The crowd are already edgy. They've seen them. They were 2-0 up against Brighton and lost 3-2. They were 2-0 up against Chelsea, lose, was it 4-2 in the end? Why are you even doing that? So I would say to Yves Bissouma, that's almost a bit of ill discipline. And tonight I thought he was very good. And he can at times play on the edge. But just by doing that, you are just say, let's all calm down and just put the ball up the other end of the pitch.
But what you're talking about, Jamie, in terms of academies, I think you're right. But what we've created now is robots on the pitch, where I'm actually looking down and thinking, OK, I put myself in, what would I do if I was playing? Now, I wasn't a great player in terms of technically or physically, but I understood the game. And some of the things that went on that pitch, I wouldn't have allowed to happen if I was in a Tottenham shirt. Now, what you've got is, you've got a manager on the side of the pitch. It's his style of management. There's different ways of doing it. He doesn't give any instruction on. So I'm thinking, the manager's told you've got a certain way of playing that you've worked on since he come in, but someone has to get hold of that game and say, we're doing something different, not be looking for instruction and not keep doing the same thing that the manager's told you to do. You have to say, no, we are changing for the next 5 or 10 minutes.
Just before we get on to the next bit of analysis, just let me ask you about that, because there was a couple of times in that second half, and the balls after they've gone either 3-1 or 3-2, and Fraser Forster has the ball, and half the team have come as if he's going to play it short, but they're sort of pointing for him to go long. But if he'd gone long, Solanke was isolated on his own. So is that what you're talking about? Because you get into your position, but then don't really understand the position.
No leadership on the pitch. So someone has to make a decision then, right? We either okay, we might be playing from the back, but you can't be one or the other. So then you end up knocking it long, and your team is like that. When basically for the next 10 or 15 minutes, your team needs to be like that, as compact as it possibly can be. The confidence has gone a little bit, so maybe the football won't be there. But you know what? We're going to be tough to play against for these next 10 or 15 minutes. We'll get through it. We'll build a little bit of confidence. We get the crowd back on side, and then we might start playing a little bit of football. And by the way, what I'm saying, it is not rocket science. This is something I was getting taught when I was 5 or 6 years of age. It's a game of football. It frustrates me watching. It's not just Tottenham, but especially Tottenham this season, how players don't understand how a game changes and how you have to alter the way you play to suit it.
And the other factor in all that is it's not just the goalkeeper, because he was also under a lot of pressure. You take the pressure, but there has to come a time when you go, OK, to Porro or to Jed Spence, actually, let's just stay calm here. We don't need you coming into areas. Let's just keep us at a nice back four, because we are in a really nice position, but this game can really quickly turn on us. And I don't understand why the manager, who stood by Porro, doesn't say to him, just stay where you are. We will get chances as this game goes on. They were just committing football suicide.
Especially when Porro's on his side.
Absolutely.
In the
I get you. That's your coaching, and he said that's how we play. I totally get that, but there has to come a time when you use your football intelligence and you don't make these kinds of mistakes.
I mean, they go man to man. That's how they press, which is fine.
But look at Garnacho, Jamie.
But that was a problem in the first half, and I said it'll be interesting to see if there's a plan. I mean, that is unbelievable. Unbelievable, the situation you find themselves in.
Or 3-2, I think this was.
Yeah.
This is at 3-2.
Yeah.
You know, and then this is where he makes a save. No, he does not one with his legs, but this is Mazraoui could score. But it was just like, it was chaotic, and it's great for us to watch, and I'm sure football fans all around the country are loving it, but you're not going to have success if you carry on like this. You know, Son gets caught in his own... You know, that's difficult because he just gets under his feet. This is a save with his legs.
I actually think that is brilliant goalkeeping, you know, because that ball comes at him so quickly, and he's a big man. He can't get his hands down, and it's so central. It's not to the side of him. So I thought he'd actually dealt with that brilliantly.
It's brilliant, though.
Brilliant.
I mean, just in the chaos of that 10 minutes, it fitted in perfect. I mean, it is a brilliant save, as you say.
No, honestly,
but it just fits into it.
Listen, we all burst out laughing in here. I think Gary was laughing on commentary. But listen, I don't know what the goalkeeping coaches out there would say, but he's such a big man. There's no way he could have got his hand down that quickly. So I think he actually dealt with it really well.
And especially because of the other two.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, Manchester United had their own goalkeeping issues really in this game. Do you see anything wrong with Tottenham?
Yeah, I do. Well, we disagree with it a little bit in here. Jamie, I think nowadays with with keepers now protected they are, I think Bergvall just gets his arm. It's not the arm that he's going to punch you, but I just think it doesn't really matter. I just think he fouls him, he impedes him. You can just see him here. He gets his right arm. Bergvall just pulls him down a bit. It's not a great deal, but yeah, this is a better angle to see it now.
I think he's actually going for... I don't think he's trying to impede him. I think he's actually trying to just go and head the ball. His arm's come up a little bit. If it had been the arm that he was punching with, I'd maybe have a lot more sympathy with him. But, I mean, I wouldn't be happy if I mean, has there been a worse performance from two goalkeepers in the same game ever? I mean, they were both really poor.
And this is Fraser Forster's. Understandable.
I will say, Fraser, with his feet, he's had but he's made some great saves in this period. There's been other games when he's been brilliant, and it's not been easy for him. You know, he'll be feeling like on the floor. But Spurs have to just, stop putting him in this situation.
But that's the whole point that you're saying. Just adapt to your goalkeeper.
He's never been known for that, being good with his feet.
That's never going to happen.
But they've got Liverpool Liverpool will be watching that the weekend, and if they start playing out from the back like that, you can imagine Salah or Jota or whoever's playing up front, they'll be just waiting to pounce on that.
Well, it has provided us with a very, very entertaining evening here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Let's see what Ange Postecoglou makes of it all. He's with Patrick.
Well, Ange, you said yesterday it's the hardest job in the world. Did we see tonight why it's so stressful?
Yeah, look, it was... obviously, we made it harder than it should have been, for sure. Rolling control and played really well. We looked like we were going to manage the game, and then obviously two moments of unfortunate. I mean, I think the first one kind of affected Fraser for a little bit, and then the second one sort of came as a result of that. So, and then we had to scramble a little bit. Showed some character at the end. Got a fourth and through the semi.
What did you like about the early part of the match, and probably actually the start of the second half, mostly where you completely took control of the game?
I like the whole bit, mate. Are you not entertained?
We are very entertained.
Well, there you go. What do you want? Do you want a scrambling 1-0? I know the studio's probably going in a meltdown over my lack of tactics, but you know what? I love the fact that we go out there and just take it to oppositions. Even the fact that we've got so many absences at the moment. Goalkeeper, both centre halves, left backs. Got kids on the bench, and yet these boys are maintaining their principles about trying to play the football we want to be. And I think if we get through this period, and I just think we're going to get enormous growth out of it. I really like the way we played tonight. I mean, obviously, those two moments kind of taint the sort of overall, and it's something that's happened this year before, and obviously it doesn't help us in sort of gaining traction in terms of our consistency, but in terms of the mentality of the boys, mate, I love it.
You're right about the studio meltdown, by the way. but part of it is, on a sort of the nice thing that's being said, is you're the most entertaining team in the league. Does that mean a lot to you?
Well, it does to me, yeah, because I love football and I love watching teams that go out there and entertain. Now, obviously we want to be successful as well, and we won't be if we, make things difficult for ourselves like we did tonight. But you balance that up with the situation we're in right now. 10 first-team players out. I keep saying it, and I don't think it's registered with people, but that's okay. And we're not going out there and trying to grind out 1-0 victories. We're keeping all your folks entertained. We're creating plenty of discussion, and I can't see how that's a bad thing.
It's definitely not a bad thing. But from your point of view, you would have liked your team surely to manage it differently from 3-0. After 3-1, is there anything you do different? Would you ever say to your team, look, go direct, sit in a block for a bit, don't put Fraser under pressure with another pass back?
But, I mean, you're sort of suggesting that I ask the players to kind of, in those moments make those mistakes, and I don't. And we had solutions out there where we didn't have to do that. That's that's part of football. Individuals will at times make those mistakes, but from the context of how we want to play as a team, no, there's nothing we need to change. I'll be very happy if we keep scoring 4 goals and 5 goals a game. if we're winning. Obviously, we want to win. We don't want to not be winning. But you know, for me, that's it's still the most important thing. And I get it. You know, it doesn't get me any credit in the bank as a astute tactician, but so be it.
Yeah, but I mean, well, I guess your quibble would be with your players. Would you like them to manage that better by having more conviction in what you ask them to do? Do the same things, but do them better.
Yeah, of course. But you know, you're asking for perfection in human beings, and that doesn't exist. You know, they're going to stuff up every now and then, like I do, and I'm sure you do, Pat.
Every now and again.
Yeah, every now and again. So, you know, don't get me wrong, we're disappointed because we had the game in total control, and no one's more disappointed than Fraser is, because he knows in those moments he could have handled it a lot better. But for me to just focus on that and discount the football we're still playing with the players, you know, who are 18-year-olds, guys who haven't played for quite a while, guys in their first year of the Premier League, that's still the bit I kind of focus on.
But when you're talking about as well being questioned as an astute tactician or otherwise, I mean, you will go through that with your players, presumably, the whole thing, but the last 20 minutes, half an hour in and amongst that.
Yeah, of course, we review everything, you know, but, you know, you don't, you know, you look at it, what solutions there were out there, could we have made better decisions, for sure. But that's not going to eliminate human error in there either. You know, that's part of football, it's part of life. So, like I said, look, you know, there'll be, depending on how you want to look at a game of football, there'll be guys who'll be focusing on those two mistakes, and others will be going, it's not a bad side.
Quarter-final of the Cup, Manchester United knocked out under lights in front of a full Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Not so bad.
I don't think so, mate. No.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ange. Cheers.
Well, I suppose if you two are focusing on the mistakes, I have to go, it's not a bad side, really.
I thought...
When he's like that, there's a twinkle in his eye, and he's happy, and he's funny, and he's absolute gold when he's like that.
You know what? That was a brilliant interview.
Wasn't it?
And we should all be desperate for Tottenham to win more games, because they are, well, I said at the start of the show, the most entertaining team in the country. He comes across brilliantly from day one in terms of his interviews. His interview there just sums up how his team are and what we're probably critical of. And what I think he got asked about being a tactician. He just said, so be it, mate, or, you know, whatever. But that interview was brilliant. We were laughing all the way through it, enjoying it. Yeah, we enjoyed that. But
we did.
It was a brilliant game. But he's never going to change. And we want to see more of that, if you like, in terms of being entertained by Tottenham. But I'd still think if you're a Tottenham supporter, you'd be going home thinking, can we win something like that, or can we will be entertained?
But do you think, if you're a Tottenham supporter going, and I don't know what it is here, 100 quid, 110 quid, I don't know, for a seat, I have no idea what the price are. But if you've paid 100 quid for a seat here, and you've gone home having beaten Manchester United 4-3 as opposed to 1-0, you've got an extra I think you've got an extra spring in your step heading home.
But let's get the thoughts, shall we, of Wes Brown and Phil Bardsley, our studio guests. Bardo, how do you sum it all up, what went on tonight? It was a crazy game.
It certainly was, Sully. You know, end to end. Obviously, really disappointing to concede right after half time. I think it knocked the stuffing out of us a little bit in terms of momentum. Always does when you obviously concede so early in a half. And then obviously to go three down was, you know, tough to take. It was a long way back from then on. The manager was brave, he was bold, made changes. We thought it needed it. And players come on and made an impact again. And, you know, unfortunately, we couldn't come away with a win and go through to the next round. But, you know, the lads that come on certainly made a difference. Ahmad again, special player.
I know the manager was protecting him given the volume of football coming up over the festive period, but you make a case that Ahmad started. We win the game probably. He's that good at the moment. He's red hot.
Yeah, he's really on form, and again when he comes on, completely changes the game. You know, just his grit, determination, and he's doing the basics, but he's doing it the best of his ability. He's sprinting to the keeper who, you know, looks a little bit stiff today, if I'm being quite honest. And
I think you're being kind to him.
No, he didn't. No, yeah, but didn't give up. You know, kept on going. He's got that winning spirit. Never give up. And he gave us that spark, the spark we needed, and then, you know, we sort of get back into the game a little bit. And again, their fourth goal,
I do think if VAR is there, the referee does give a foul, but it's not, you know, and the rest not really seeing the arm, and unfortunately it's just a little bit too much to do.
Yeah, you're right with that fourth goal, because when we watched it in real time, we were saying Altay has to be strong again. He probably still does, but Bergval's arm is up and on one of his arms, kind of pulling him down a little, so it would have been quite a light foul to give.
Yeah, he's certainly made contact with him though, Sully. He's made contact with him. It's a clear foul, and obviously the rules now with VAR, obviously it's not been in the earlier rounds and tonight, but I'm made aware is it in the semi-final and the final. I just don't understand how that's fair for obviously teams. It's obviously made a big impact on the game tonight, but listen, at 3-0 down, we were finished, weren't we?
Yeah.
But obviously the character we've shown, the desire from obviously a player like Ahmad who's in great form to get back into the game, and then obviously to concede a goal like that, which is tough to take because it's clearly a foul.
Yeah. Ultimately then, we're out of the Carabao Cup. The bigger challenges are to follow, because there's every game massive, every game's important when you're Manchester United, but the Premier League game here against Bournemouth is vital, isn't it? Hence why Ruben had to rotate his team a bit, because he's got one eye on that. A game on Boxing Day, there's so many fixtures to fulfil, so you can understand why the likes of Ahmad didn't start.
Yeah, listen, of course, and we've talked about at the beginning, there's lots of games, and regardless, you know, what us the fans want to see, the manager's still looking on who he likes and who he thinks can do things the best in certain positions. But it is about, listen, I know the stats now show how much running people have done, and at some point, you know, if you do too much, you're more prone to an injury coming on, and that's just a fact. So he changes it round a lot, but ultimately I think we've got into a stage now where you can see the sort of play we want, and now it's just about being brave, confident. Concentration levels have to be high. Again, we've let in an early goal in the second half. We have to stop that, because we're always trying to then grind away to get back into the game. And you know, if we can be solid and concentrating a little bit more at the start of games, especially whether it's the first half, second half, we'll be in the game a lot more.
Yeah.
You know, because we're doing a lot more running, but we will keep ourselves in the game, because we will get opportunities, especially when he makes substitutes.
One of the frustrations, it feels like, is that they didn't have to work particularly hard for any of their goals, Spurs. We kind of gifted all of them to them.
Yeah, the third one particularly poor. I think obviously Martinez can get over a little bit quicker to try and obviously get Solanke, push him down the line, and then I feel like he pushes the ball inside far too easy and gets his shot away. Obviously through Johnny's legs, you know, they're hard to stop. They're not easy when you try to get a block off, but I think then obviously going 3-0 down is really, really difficult. You could see the body language of the Spurs players, who were obviously laughing, doing Rabonas and thinking, you know, they've run away with this game, but like I say, showed character to get back in the game at a tough place. It's a really tough place to go, but disappointing, because I think there was chances for us there tonight to win that game.
One of the big things, which is a bit of a shame, is that Johnny, who got the third goal, has been talking about desperately wanting to get a goal since he returned to the club, his boyhood club, and he has found the back of the net from the corner, nice little near post header. However, you saw the way he didn't celebrate, just ran back. It wasn't on his mind then that he's got his goal for United that he desperately wanted. He wanted to get the game going again, but in other circumstances it would have been a great moment for him.
Yeah, 100%. Listen, I think the main thing to come from this, we were, you know, down and out, and we pretty much scored 3 goals away from home. Now, listen, it looks like the way we're going, we can do that, we can produce, we can create that many chances. It's now just concentration at the back, not giving sloppy goals away. Because if you're scoring 3 goals away from home, I think you should be winning.
Yeah.
And that's the honest truth. You know, we've just got to be. Again, I only think it's concentration and you know, just being a little bit sloppy, because everything else seems to be in motion.
We spoke about Ahmad and Johnny, who got 2 of the goals, but Josh Zirkzee got the first. Again, a mistake by Forster. Bruno seizes upon his pass and Zirkzee nets from close range. But he did pretty well when he came on.
Yeah.
Decent hold-up play, got a couple of flick-ons, got involved.
I think once we got a foothold in the game, obviously we was 3 down, no one was probably expecting us to win at that point. I think we started finding a few more passes, we were getting in behind, and he's got really good movement. Obviously he's found himself in a good position in front of goal. Bruno's done really well, running up the back of the defender. So I think once we got a bit of momentum, where obviously Spurs probably thought they'd already won the game, and we started to get back into it, I thought we looked really dangerous, and Xerxes was a key part of that.
Yeah. And that's not a slight on Højlund, who was working real hard up there on his own. Good hold-up play and making a couple of runs. Maybe could have done more running in behind, because there was certainly the opportunity when Eriksen was on the pitch, for example, to find him.
Yeah, but listen, I always think the first half, second half different. If we're making attacking-minded changes, they're fresh. They're just off the bench. They're ready to get on the pitch. The defenders will be a little bit tired. And obviously they're sort of a different style of player as well. They do different things. They've got different attributes. And Xerxes, coming on, he caused them a few problems. They couldn't get the ball off him. He was doing nice flicks. He was moving defenders out the way, and that was opening, their defence up a little bit.
It really was. Okay, let's get the thoughts of our TV commentators for this one. Dave Stahl was joined by Danny Webber.
Well, what a night. So much to digest from that cup tie, not least, of course, that Tottenham raced into a commanding lead. Manchester United came roaring back, helped, of course, by some questionable goalkeeping at one end. And then, of course, just when United were really hot on the heels of Tottenham, it all unravelled somewhat. So much to sort of go through, and so much actually during the course of the game, Danny, to enjoy, but also to endure. It was one of those nights with so much going on.
Yeah, I mean, Tottenham Hotspur ended their disappointing run of results with an emphatic 5-0 win at Southampton on the weekend, ultimately resulting in the dismissal of Russell Martin as manager of the Saints. Not to be outdone, Manchester United triumphed with 2 late goals in the Manchester derby that piled further misery on Pep Guardiola and ensured Ruben Amorim's greatest moment thus far in his Old Trafford tenure. After leaving Alejandro Garnacho and Marcus Rashford out of the squad entirely, the United manager was entirely vindicated with a memorable victory. Ange Postecoglou has been bullish this season, adamant that he always wins a trophy in his second year in charge. At times in recent weeks, amid an injury crisis, his job has seemed to be on the line. This one is huge for the Australians, since a win would put Spurs in the semi-final and give them a serious chance of winning a trophy for the first time since they beat Chelsea in the final of this competition back in 2008. If United build on their excellent week and defeat the hosts, then the pressure on the Tottenham manager will be immense. Spurs are still without goalkeeper Guglielmo Vicario, while Rodrigo Bentancur is suspended. Mickey van der Ven, Christian Romero and Ben Davies are also all serious doubts for the visit of Amorim's side. United, for their part, will likely have to do without Mason Mount after he hobbled off in the derby. The midfielder must be wondering exactly how many mirrors he broke, given his bad luck with injuries since joining the club from Chelsea. The same could be said of Luke Shaw, who is out for the foreseeable future.